All right, let's start recording. And we've learned a bunch of stuff that we are putting into the curriculum, into the book. A plot thickens. So R can be used for so many things. And we looked at, in the last video, we looked at how we use leaflet and get some really cool interactive maps. And that's tremendous. And just to remind you, because the code is here, let's see if I have the whole, I thought I had the whole code here somewhere. I guess I did. It's here. And so let me just show you that. So we'll show you leaflet again. This is in Canvas, by the way. All right, so let's copy this and go into R. And let's make a new file. And let's pop that in. And then let's run it. And what we get when it runs, CVS file was not found, CSV. Why wasn't it found? That's odd. Okay, I need to see what's wrong with the CSV file. Here's the CSV file, and it should be in there. It should be there, HAF project sites. So let's just check that for a second. And we go to what it says here. We have spreadsheets, boundary maps, spreadsheets, where are you? Oh, because I changed it to 0. I wanted to move it up, so that's why. Okay, so it just has to be 0 spreadsheets. I think that's how it's called now. Let's just try that and run it. There we go. Okay. So the name had been changed, so it has to be reflected in my code. In fact, I should replace that. Although it doesn't matter, it's for whoever's doing it, but in ours, it would be, because I wanted it right up at the top of the thing, it would be there. All right. So having run that, we can zoom out. We can go to street or satellite. So for some reason, streets isn't working. There's always something with these codes, but at least the satellite is working. And we were showing that you can measure any of these points that we have, so you can tell distances between these villages. That's Aguns, and that's Anmeter, and that's Tankist, and that's Tamichi. So if you went to measurement, creating a measurement, then you could measure it from this village to this village. And there, from that village to that village, you get half a mile, roughly. And then there you got 1.4 miles for all of that. And then if you tried to go across that way, you get 3 miles. And then if you close it up, then you get an area in acres. So there was that. And you can remove the points and add the points. So that was pretty cool because you have the whole world map and you've got all of the points from Morocco. So that's using the viewer, and that is using leaflet. All right. And I don't have to save this right now. So I'll get rid of that. But we're looking at now, how would you use it using the plots function. And the plots function uses a different protocol, which we'll show you. And here is the code, which I'll show you. And if I run it, then it's going to create this map. And the streets there and satellite. Now, the problem with this, as you can see, is that my plots are off of the Google base map, and I've tried for hours and hours and hours to get it to line up, and ChatGPT and I were unable to do that. But it is working such that I can see the population of places, and that's fun. Double click to get out of that. Go in here. That's pulling from a spreadsheet that we created just to have the population of these different cities. There's Casablanca, and then we'll click on it. And once again, you can also get it like this, come in. But be that as it may, you know, it's a little off. The other thing that I was able to do, and I'll close this up, I did one that has CSV, and I did one for my data for the High Atlas Foundation, just by changing that path to the data, which was here. Where is that? Retrieve. There it is. So it's the High Atlas Foundation CSV. And I'm going to pull village latitude and longitudes. When I run this code and wait for it, it pops up a window. And there we go. The only difference this time is that as we go in, these are all the points for the High Atlas Foundation. And I've got the population Aguns, and here in Iflit and Tadula Zanfli. Wherever I have the populations, I need to get those. And there's no measuring thing on this, but I can put populations. And that came from, if we open up our folder here and look at, go out of here and come back into my climate tutorials and then our studio. So there's the spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet in this case is my spreadsheet with the village names and with the population recorded from the High Atlas Foundation here. Okay, that's what's showing up on that map, and these are the village names. The same one that we had in the leaflet one. So the question is, how do we get here? How do we make such a map? And so we will start another script and go back into our document. And the first thing that we have to do is we have to make sure that we get the right packages in. And the package that we're going to use for plotting is called tidyverse. It contains in it GGPLOT2. And it also contains Dippler to give functions for data manipulation, Reader for handling the CSV, that's how we get the data in from the CSV, Forecats for handling factors, StringR, there's GGPLOT2, the powerhouse data visualization package. That's the key to plotting stuff rather than using leaflet. And then Tibble, an alternative to data frames, Lubridate, data times, tidyr to reshape and transform messy data sets in per for functional programming. Really what we're all looking at is Reader and GGPLOT are the biggest ones that we're working with here. And so what you'd want to do is you would want to get tidyverse. You also have to have SF, and you'll want natural earth and our natural earth data. Now, these are things that we used in the last tutorial when we were doing leaflet. And you can see when we come up into this code that we put in leaflet, SF, reader, and leafm. We're not going to need leaflet or leafm because we're now doing it with a plot. So we're going to need SF and reader, but then we're going to need tidyverse. So these are the defaults, SF and reader, and then we need tidyverse. So coming back down here, let's get our library tidyverse, then SF for handling spatial data, then our natural earth and our natural data. All right. So that's the first thing we're going to put in. You can type them in or copy them in. And if you don't have these, then you'll need to install them. One piece of code that has been very useful to me is to always put up a header which ChatGPT created for me, which says, if it's not there, then install it. And so the ones here, there's if tidyverse, if natural earth. So let's start there. And that way, if you don't have them, it'll automatically install them, and if you do, then it won't. So let's go into our untitled one, and let's put that on the top. Because if you just put install, which you could do, I mean, you can always type in install.packages and then put tidyverse, for example, and then it'll install it, and then you could comment that out once it's installed. But that's a pain if you use this protocol. If required namespace quietly equals true, then install it, then it does it behind the scenes if you need it, and it doesn't if you don't. So we'll have that statement start everything, and then we'll have the library which checks it. Remember, when you're looking at packages, if we search for tidyverse, for example, it's selected over here, but if it wasn't, then when you ran it right here, then check both of those. And the same thing for SF. If I look for SF, it's checked here, but if I unchecked it, it wouldn't be loaded. So in order to load it, you'd have to run it from here. And then bing, it's checked, and that means it's loaded. And you can also find packages to install from here. So if you wanted to know, does tidyverse exist? Then yes, there's tidyverse in here. And you'd load and install the package. All right, just a quick reminder of that. All right, so we've got that. Now the next step that we're going to do, since you don't want to have to guess by trial and error, we want to get the world data set and display all the country names. If we do that, then we'll know what countries are available for this, because we're plotting, we're not doing a map that already has this information on it. So when I put in get the world data set, and I say world is defined as, this means defined as, the natural Earth countries at a medium scale, and the return class is this SF, special features library, and then display all the country names, unique world name. If I were to run this, you can see down here, this is what the data is for me to work with, because things have to be named very specifically. And this is how they're named in this data set from natural Earth down here. So I'm going to use Morocco. I have to see how they spell it. And if I go Morocco, it's just not going to let me search in here, is it? No, I'd have to just look through Monaco, Mexico. There it is, Morocco. So you got to make sure that this is spelled right in your data set if you're going to use that. All right, so that's just a way to display those names. You have access to them. And now the next piece of code that we're going to drop in is getting Morocco's map. And so we're going to make a definition, which you will see. Bring that in. And we're saying Morocco with a small m, which is our variable that we just created, is defined as the natural Earth countries, scales medium, the country equals, and that's where we use the word Morocco from here with a capital M, because that's how it's spelled, and the return class equals the special features. All right, all that's going to do is create a definition of a place called Morocco. So the next thing is we're going to define that city with its coordinates. And we take each of the major cities of Morocco and we get their coordinates in latitude and longitude, and we list them in order. So how do we know the cities? Right? How do we know what the Morocco cities are? It's a table. And if you wanted to see that, then we'd have to say any cities, I do believe. Don't have that in here. Table. Now, if we want to be able to see all of the cities that are available, just as we did all the countries here, then we would write world cities, just as we did up here when we did world. Just the world was defined as the natural Earth countries. We would do world cities, is the natural earth download scale populated places type category cultural return class. So this is a special bit of code that lets us find the populated places that are in the category of cultural, and then we would display them. So when we run this part of the code, then we get let's see. Give us a null. Why did he give us a null? So we got an error, and one way to try to fix that is to tell it to give us the column names because something went wrong. And there they are. Column names for world cities are these, and therefore name in English is what it should have been. So we're going to take this name in English, and then we need to put name English in here. Now when we run this, we should get what we wanted to, these cities' names. When we run it, there we go. So these are all the cities in the world. That's a lot of cities coming out of the Natural Earth database. So we have to filter it for just Morocco, but it's good to see how each of these city names comes up. And now that we've done that, we can filter for Morocco by saying Morocco cities is defined as world cities with a filter for sovereignty Morocco, and then the unique Morocco cities name in English. I think we also have to put in underscore en to make sure that we get the right column. And now we'll see what these cities in Morocco are. Run that. And it had an error. Okay, what happened there? Here. Let's just do Morocco cities. See what we get an error. So this error is probably because we didn't name the word sovereignty, wherever that is, right here, sovereign, may not be the right column name for it. So I'm going to make sure that I display that, and I'm going to type in here display columns names and put in this piece of code here, which I normally run down in the console, but might as well have it here so that I don't lose it. And then go like this, and there they are. And then sovereignty, it seems like it's probably done in capitals, but where? If it's there at all, population, LMNOP, F-class geometry. It might be admin name. It could be that. With a 1, add 1 name, because I don't see sovereignty. Hold on here. So we'll try it out. We'll try using, instead of sovereignty, we're going to use admin name and see if that does it. Okay, so let's try that and see if that does it. Didn't seem to do anything. Didn't seem to break it. So column names, world cities, and then we'd have to display, which would be telling it column names, and then inside we would say Morocco underscore cities. And this should be a display of Morocco cities. And let's try that. Yeah, there we go. Well, no, that just gave us column names. So that's not how we display it. We do unique world, unique Morocco cities name. All right, so that's not what we wanted. What we want, display all available cities names. We did unique world cities, so unique Morocco cities name in English. After we had taken world cities, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. All right, so it can't be admin name. Maybe it is just name. Maybe it's just name en. Maybe it's just the one that we had. Name en. Oh, let's try that. No, it's not that. And then we have to try some different stuff out. Okay, so it should have been admin 0 name. So somewhere in here, that one here, admin 0 name was the right one to put in, and then we can display it. And when we display it, we see Taza, Safi, Layun, Fez, Rabat, Marrakesh, and Casablanca. So we have those now in there. Now, if I want to know their latitude and longitude, then I would go unique, and then Morocco cities, and then I would do the $sign, and then it tells me all the different columns that I have, and I would want to do latitude and longitude. So when I put LA, say LL and longitude, and then I would say, I think I have to put another $sign. No, maybe not. Let's just do latitude. Let's do longitude. So when I do that, I get all the cities' longitudes. I wonder, will it give me latitude? Let me see if I do latitude like this and run it. No. Let's see if I put a $sign in there. Run that. Nope. So the best I could do is get the latitudes and get the longitudes. I might have to do that again. Unique Morocco cities, $sign, and then latitude. I gotta get rid of the $signs there. And then if I run this, oops, if I run this, then I get the latitudes. And all that can be used to construct a table, which is what we have in our tutorial here. This is the table that you want to create. And so if we put that in, then you can see the same thing. The Casablanca, where do we have that? This has got them in reverse order. So Casablanca would be a latitude of 33.5731. In our case, wow, I didn't even see that. 33.60192. It's kind of close, but let's see what Aujda 34.68, Oudsten here isn't even listed. Tangier is the third from there, which would be 35.75, and in this table, again, it doesn't exist. Let's try, where's Taza? They're giving different cities than we have. Very interesting. Morocco cities. I wonder why Marrakesh is -8 here, and here it's, isn't that funny? It gives a completely different view, but Fez, which is -5, here would be Taza, Safi, Lane, Fez. Yeah, it's close. These are close, but it's listed in a different way. So it depends on where you're pulling your data from. My advice is to not worry too much about this because there's going to be another way to do this. But the point is that you're going to match up latitudes with cities defined by the comma, and then longitudes. And then once you do that, then you're going to plot the base map. Using this here. And what this does is it says to use GGPLOT in order to plot the map base. And then it's going to pull the Morocco cities that we have. The aesthetic is going to be longitude and latitude. And then it's going to add city markers, which are going to come out of these labels, longitude and latitude. Once you have this in there, if we run that, you get a map with those major cities on it. Those cities coming from where we defined the cities with their coordinates. And what that indicates is if we wanted to add more cities to this, let's see if I can pull this console up. So if I wanted to come in here and I say to myself, all right, I want to add another city, for example, here I have Safi, which is not part of this, and Taza, which is not part of this. So let me take Taza and let me add it here. And then let me take Safi and let me add it here. And let me take Layun and add it here. Rabat we have, Fez we have, Marrakesh we have, and Casablanca we have. So it's just Taza, Safi, and Layun that we don't have. And then the longitude is down here. So the longitude for Taza is here. Sorry, the latitude. The longitude is this first one here. So take this longitude and put that in there. Then let's get the longitude for Safi right there. Then let's get the longitude for Layun. Okay. And then the latitudes, we'll get Taza. then we get the Safi, and we'll get the Layun. Right. There we go. And now when we run it, we should get those extra cities in here. There's Layun, Agadir, there's Safi, and then there's Taza near Aujda. It doesn't zoom in yet, but at least it shows you can get a map and you can put other points on it. All right. And if you compare that with a Google map, and we say Layun, so Layun is down here. There's Layun, and Agadir is up here. So when we go back to our map, there's Layun and there's Agadir, and then Taza. There in that area, and on our map it is somewhere over here, as is Aujda. They seem to be crumbling on top of one another, so Aujda. We know where that is. There's Taza there. Where's Aujda? Oh, way over there. Alright, so something may be wrong with our map. We got the coordinates wrong. And here's where it's interesting to come in and fix some of that. So if we think Aujda is off the map somehow, or Taza is, then let's check it by going to our Google map, taking Aujda. There's the coordinates. And let's temporarily put them down here, so we can have that done. And then we could say that Aujda's longitude, Layun, Safi, Taza, Aujda. Let's fix this to there. And then the latitude, greater precision for Aujda, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put that in there. And then let's rerun it. They do separate a bit now, but maybe the Taza isn't correct. So let's find Taza again. So it's suggesting that Taza is there. And if that's the case, then we were way off with what we got from the near Earth map. But let's go from Taza and say that this is the longitude for Taza, 1, 2, 3. It's quite different from what we've gotten from there. And then here would be the latitude, 1, 2, 3, which is somewhat close. So sometimes the data can be a little sketchy. Let's try this. Yeah, now Taza shows up more inland as it should. All right, so let's save what we have here as the save as. We'll call this YouTube tutorial for plotting Morocco. All right. So we got a map. Yay for us. There it is. And we did some ground truthing of it using GGPLOT2 and SF in tidyverse. So we want to go further with that. I want to see what more we can do with the plotting function, knowing that it's never going to be as good as what we had with the viewer. The viewer is just tremendous, right? But we can sort of approximate that with this. It has its virtues and values, and this is what came before the leaflet came out. So let's go back to our document. And the next thing, there it is, showing that's what we got. Now, other Middle Eastern countries surrounding it, if we want to get the Middle Eastern countries, we would add to this, before we get to ggplot, we'd add to get MENA region, because that's just Morocco. We get MENA countries, that's our variable that we're going to define as a frame that includes Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and then we're going to, that's how we've defined those countries, and they've all come out of the, remember way back here when we were looking at, these are cities of the world, when we were looking at the, let me show you again, Morocco cities, column names of world cities. World cities, here we had unique world name. So when I run just unique world name, these are all the different countries that we had down here. From running that, that's what we're using for our definition. We're saying that the MENA countries are, and we're picking these ourselves. So what if I want to put Spain in? Then I should have that ability to put in Spain, if Spain is in here. Like I say, I wish that you could actually search through here, but you can't. So you got to look through to make sure it's written right, but I'm pretty sure that it's just going to be Spain like that. And since we're on the Mediterranean, we might as well also put in France. Spain and France, maybe Italy. We have Italy. And then, since we've defined that those are going to be the ones that we want to surround this, Spain, Italy, France, oh, Portugal. Got to get Portugal in there. Portugal. Oh, and what about Greece? Greece. Greece. All right. We'll use those. Then the MENA map, we will define it as the natural earth countries. The scale's medium. The country is pulling from this MENA countries table that we created, and then it returns it as special features. When we have that, if we want to display them, under gplot, we're going to add MENA base map. So we go under gplot. Let's put this piece of code in. Geometry data. There's the MENA map. Gray is the color. Morocco is still just light blue. And we need labels on there. So with labels, we're going to customize the label theme, map of Morocco with major cities, subtitle MENA region as base map. And then that's going to be what we put in to the labels part. So replace this with this. And let's see if it runs. Boom. And there it is. And so you see now we have the entire Mediterranean. Well, but missing a couple of countries down here. But we can't zoom in on it, so it's really ugly. But at least we have the map. And we could look and see what countries did we miss in here. If we come out and we go to this, we have Italy, we have France. We didn't put in Slovenia or Croatia. Montenegro or Albania. We didn't put in Turkey, I guess. So, no, we didn't put in Turkey. So what are we missing in between here? We're missing Albania. So it really helps you to learn your geography. Albania, and then let's put in Montenegro, and let's put in Bosnia. That comes through. Let's put in Serbia. And we can just have fun putting all sorts of countries in here. Slovenia, Bosnia, and Croatia. Of course we need Croatia. Croatia. Let's get Croatia in there. And let's just see what that does. Oops. And it filled in parts of the coast there, which is great. All right. It would also be nice to get the country that's right under Morocco, because we don't see that. So Mauritania would be nice. So let's come back in here and let's add Mauritania. Mauritania. And let's rerun. Oh, I must have spelled it wrong. Something went wrong. What did I do wrong? I spelled Mauritania wrong. Maurit. M-A-U-R-I-T. Mauritania. Mauritania. No, it's there. Ah, I didn't put a comma afterward. Very good. Very good. Bingo. Then Mauritania goes, oh look, it's missing some other things. Are there other countries that I wasn't aware of? In between here and here? Western Sahara. That's a country? Really? This I did not know. Let's try it. Western Sahara, if it's listed that way. And then try that. Oh, it filled it in. All right, so this is how we build these maps, and then we'll save it. So let's see how we can zoom in and out so we can start looking at data. So we go to our document, large code for you, which doesn't have all those in fact. Now that I've got this, let me grab this tibble here to there, and let's pull that into our document, which is, where are we on? Anyway, Morocco cities. Morocco cities right here. So put that in instead. So now we have more cities, and then let's put in our MENA countries that we've updated. MENA countries. Yeah, so we have more countries in there. So that's better. And then plot the Morocco city we did, and we got that, and a little bit better now. And then when we add more countries to the map, Southern European countries, Spain, Italy, France, Greece. So we've got that, and then we have this. And that's what we were beginning to see there, but it's harder to see the specific regions. We need a way to zoom in and out. So we do zoomed in, and we'd have to zoom in and out depending on what our zoom is. And that's a big pain. So let me just go back in here and remember where that goes. Under labs. Right, so when you're looking at the labs title, right, you can tell it to be zoomed in and look at just Morocco with that, with the Y limit being a frame of a longitude of 20 and a latitude of 45, and the X limit is a frame of negative 20 and 10. And you'll see now when I zoom in, when I run this, it zooms right in on Morocco. These things are changeable. So what you can do to change them, if you wanted to go just to Marrakesh, then you would, once you know what Marrakesh is, which we do, then you could just zoom in on Marrakesh because we know the surrounding area from Marrakesh, from longitude of 6 to longitude of 10, latitude of 29 to 33. If we were to put this into the code, let me show you. Theme minimal has to come at the end. So we bring this down. And then what I can do is take this labs title, this whole area, and I can comment it out with Shift-Control-C. Puts a bunch of comments on it, so we're not playing that. Now we're playing this part when we run the whole thing. And we zoom in just on Marrakesh. So you can keep doing that depending on the sort of size you want. I mean, I can comment all of this out, Shift-Control-C, and I can take this again, copy it, paste it, uncomment the minimal, that needs to be uncommented, and then uncomment this, Shift-Control-C, but change the frame so it's not Morocco, it's MENA and Southern Europe, and then tell it to be rather big. Say that this should be negative 30 and go all the way from 5, so it's a big range. And then this should be longitude, or latitude. Latitude comes second in these mapping programs. The latitude I might want to go from 15 to 50. That may be pretty big, it may be too big, but just to show you that that's how you're controlling your zoom level. Boom. Now I've got that. If I say, well, I didn't go far enough on my latitude, I might want to come from here. And you can play around and see what it does. Let's go all the way to 5. Right, that's the latitude. And with the longitude, let's go to negative 40. And let's see what that does. Moves us out that way. Let's go from here to 40. And run it. See? So that moves you around the map by changing those coordinates. And I think I'm actually going too far this way. I only got it like 20 here. Yeah, much better. So you can play around with it like that. You can comment in and comment out in different levels of zoom, and you can get your map. It's okay, but it's not as easy as what we had with Leaflet when we were able to just zoom in and out, right? So if you look at interactive Mina map, this one here, which is shiny, it's not what we want. Basic satellite interactive. If I look at Leaflet, so I had this HAF child, right? So this one here, which uses Leaflet and LeafEM, I mean, notice that once again, when you're in it's not finding the sites. Why? Because it's got to be 0. Save that. We did that at the beginning. Anyway, let's save this. Got it. Still doesn't get it. I don't think this is the problem. It's not finding it. Okay, I found the error. Actually, the 0 was here. Change the name and put the 0 there. So now, bingo. So I was going to say that, yeah, this map is so much easier because you can zoom in and out and look at all your points and stuff. And we don't have that with the plotting map that we're doing here. Here in plot, all we have is that, no way to zoom in out. So we want to get a way to zoom in out. And that's the next part. The next part is to add layers. Okay. Because we don't want to have to keep zooming in and out. Because what I do say here is that one thing that we could do is make it so that there's false and true code. And the false and true up here would be, let me show you with here, the zoom layer. False and then true to zoom into Marrakesh. And I really don't want to have to go through all of that. It does work, and I guess I can show you that because for the sake of showing you, you wrap a section in a false thing, and so we would say, right here, choose which labels and zoom. But then you have to make it zoom in Marrakesh. So down here, conditional zoom has to be put in. I'll just show you how we do this. So you come in here and you would have a conditional zoom. And oops, and you sort of make a toggle. And you would do it's going to take me a second to figure out And I think rather than try to mess up my code, I'm just going to make another window and show you how this code works. Because I'm always skittish to make a mistake. But if I take this piece of code here and go to R here, and let me just make another piece of code, you will see that this one here, when I run it, it works like this, gives you the map, but then it's conditional, so that if I change zoom in Marrakesh to be true here, and I run it, then we zoom into Marrakesh. And if I make it false, oops, and then run it, then I go back to this. And I could work that code into our thing, but it's such a pain to do it that way that ultimately we're not going to do it that way. There's just no need. So let me run this code again. This is the one that we have that takes us to there. And yes, we could put in, instead of uncommenting and recommenting over here, there's the commenting and recommenting. We could put in this false and true thing, but much too crazy, because there's a better way to do it. And that's what we end up getting to here. The best bet is to use something called PLOTLY. And so if we do PLOTLY and then load that library, so let's come in here and make it interactive. So let's go and put PLOTLY in to our code here. So there's install packages PLOTLY, but we should still now add it to make if, and then require, whoops, if require namespace PLOTLY, then quietly equals true, then install packages PLOTLY. And then we can load that library. So then it doesn't constantly try to load and quit R and reload. So there's that. All right. So now, we can run it and get PLOTLY installed. So let's run this and this. And so it's now loaded library. PLOTLY is loaded, and we could always check that by going here and looking for PLOTLY. And there it is, checked off. So PLOTLY's in now, which is good. Now the next thing, save this. Now with PLOTLY loaded, there's our existing map, labels dynamically. So for our labels, we're going to come here and we're going to make it an interactive map. And I hope I'm going to make this work right, because after our geom points and all this stuff with the labs title and all that, let me comment this out, because we're not going to need this. And instead, we're going to try this. And let's see what this does. Object labels not found. All right, so what did I do wrong in here? Labels. Existing thing. Cities, label, called city. Oh, I see what went wrong. This has got to be, this is a comment, labels, and that just didn't work. Yeah, that should have been there. So we want to get rid of, I think I have to put that tab in, plot labels. So this is a comment. Let's see what this does. Context. Static map not found. And it may be because I have no labels in here. Let me comment all of this out. Oops. Comment this out. Oops, say busy. Comment that. So I've commented all of that out. All that's commented out. Now, drawing from here, the existing GGPLOT map, because the static map had not been defined. All right, so now let's go in here, get rid of this, and put in that. Now let's see what happens. Boom. There we are. Okay, now we have the ability to zoom in on something or double click to get out. We can come into Aujda, and there it is. Now we see the longitude and latitude displayed. Double click to get out. We can go into Layun. We can double click. We can go into Casablanca and Rabat and get our lat law. Now, to look at the code to see where that's coming from, notice that we had replaced all of this with something that pulled the MENA background. That's fine. Southern Europe's in there, Morocco is in there, Morocco cities, Latin lawn are there, and then we're plotting the zoom, and then we're making it interactive, and Plotly is taking the latitude and the longitude and putting it in there. Because now it's called a static map, which is defined as ggplot with all this, and then we're taking static map and we're defining it as an interactive map and using an interactive map. And it's just pulling these lat longs right out of it because that's what Plotly does, which is pretty cool. Right? So that's neat. So there's only one more thing to do in order to make this really sing, and that is to get some kind of more realistic background to this and be able to pull in our own data. So to do that, we do code for a larger view. For that, then we have the ability to bring in these base maps. Do satellite imagery. To do satellite imagery, then we're going to want other packages in here. We have GGMap. Do we have that in our thing? No, we don't. So we're going to do another line here. And we're going to call this GGMap as another package that we need. And install that package. And then we need to load the library, GGMap. Okay. And then library now has lead GGMap. We've got Plotly in there, which is good. We need to get our API key. And to do that, we're going to also define a box for the MENA region and then get a satellite map. So this whole section here is going to be put in, and I'm going to put that as a base map here, and uncomment and replace this with your actual API key, and everything else is as is. So for my API key, I would have to go to Google API key in my Google Cloud, and then I need to manage my API keys. There's my API key. Basics, that's documentation, console, and then I have API keys, and I have map static, and I have maps. I should have my own API keys under keys and credentials, and I'm going to grab that key, drop it into code. There's my API key, go in. Satellite mask, and there it is, our API key. Oops. Well, that didn't work. Let's go back here and copy the key. Or if it's going to give me trouble, I'll just grab it like that. And then I'll come back. Paste it in, there we go. And let's hope that this works now. Oh, it rejected it. It was a bad request. Why is that? Hold on. Alright, it just turns out I used the wrong key, the wrong map key. The one that I wanted to use was actually this one here from Maps Static API. It's got several APIs, and it was the static one that I needed to use. Now, in order to see it, you have to plot it with the satellite layer, and then the rest of this was the same using the PLOTLY that we had. So I'll just copy this and replace it here under the display maps. I want to make sure I'm doing that right. It says got the geom. So this is the MENA plot of the satellite now. So I really should just be able to take this part and then hit add. Let me see if that works before the geom data. So if I come in here, static map, MENA map plot. It may not work. Let's see. It said it couldn't find it. So what did I do wrong? Let me just take the whole bit down to theme minimal and then display and just use the end of this part here. Take this and just put that in there. Let's see if that works. And it did. Okay. So this is what we have. Now the problem, and there's no way around this that I know, is that we can't get it to match the map. It's always north shifted. And I spent many, many hours with ChatGPT with this enormously long string that just went on and on and on and on and on and on, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours trying to fix this. We had these great conversations and ultimately could not get it to do anything with this shift. So we just say that's what it is. But we should have interactivity now, and we don't have interactivity because the interactivity we want is going to pull actually from our data, from not just the cities here, but we want to pull it from our own data. So to do that, we did all of this and all of this, used something called Shiny. And the first thing that we did is we let this thing write itself, and we put in a package called Shiny, and we also put in a CSV file that we wanted to create, and all that is here. So let me come up here and show you. Well, let's actually go from, we just want to put in this thing called Shiny now. So let's go into here and let's put in another package called Shiny, and let's load it in the library. There it is. Alright, and then in addition to putting in Shiny, which we have in there, we've got Shiny there, we've got the Google thing, so we're okay there. We defined a bounding box. We loaded our Google base maps. We retrieved the data. Did we do that? Loading Google base maps. Let's try this and see. So loading Google base maps. Roadmap. Okay, so we have that. That's the same thing, so that's good. In a satellite roadmap, we retrieve the data. There's a separate overlay layer. Load Moroccan cities from CSV instead of hard coding. So in this one here, we decided to do a CSV, which I'll show you in here. We have this one called Moroccan cities. And this is one we made with the name of the city, the lat, the lon, and the population. And it's in the same folder as the R script. So when we put in now Moroccan cities, if we put into here load Moroccan cities as reading from the CSV instead of from this world cities thing that we had done before, and then we turn it into an object, so converted it to an object down here. So now we've made it from a CSV. The CSV is there. It's got lat, lon, and population. And then we need to build the Shiny app. And then, so that's going to come into here. Shiny app. Alright. So I've got a Shiny app that ChatGPT built for us. I wouldn't know how to do this, but it's creating a user interface that's defined as a fluid page that has switch between satellite, and it's got sidebar panels, and it says choose the base map. So all that was created by ChatGPT, and it seemed to have worked. And then we go in to create the GGPLOT, and then the Shiny API has to be in there. And then so that comes at the bottom. Right. There might be some errors, so let's see if this runs. it did not run. So something is wrong here. It's an unexpected end of document. So what did we do wrong here? I think we need to make sure that we have convert to, maybe there's something wrong with this. I don't know where this piece of code goes. Convert to interactive PLOTLY map. Let's see here. Map. Let's try this. Okay, the error went away. Or did it? It's here. And that seems to be okay. Let's try this. And nothing. So I need to hunt for some errors. Hold on. Oh, here's a good example of how we can use ChatGPT. So let's take this into chat and say, "Hi, Ally, can you fix these errors?" Put that in there, and let's see what it comes up with. Yeah, there's a missing bracket. So, fix it applied. Made sure it was inside. These are these little syntactical things that need to be worked out. So let's try this. Oh, that's just the fixed code from where? Just from the convert to the PLOTLY part. Convert to PLOTLY. I should ask it to fix the other one. Can you give the full code? Instead of hunting around looking for that. And then you see here, there's the, if we need these packages, there's the loading the libraries, there's some good commenting. There's the Google API, there's the defining bounding box, then base maps, food map and satellite, and then retrieving the data, because we've put in Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya. And then buttons and bingo. Alright, it's coming in. And here we go. And there's the code. And it says it fixed the indentation, loaded the Moroccan cities, ensured data compatibility, fixed the tooltip. So now let's take all of this and delete it. And let's reload it here. And let's try the whole code and see what happens. Nothing. Alright, let me try this. Let's erase all of this. And erase all of this. And let's try it again. This is an unexpected that. Okay, I'll have to tell that to chat. Okay. What do we have from here? There's clean version of the code. See if it's all working or not. And then run. And there we go. Okay, now it pops up. But the object ion wasn't found. Whatever that means. Alright, pause this. Alright, the problem was the definitions lon is not found, and so we've got to go in and look for where the corrected version where it says longitude and latitude on geom point. And so geom point does say longitude and latitude. So I've got to find where does it say lon. Doesn't say it there. Doesn't say it there. It looked alright. So this is really weird. Map plot. Well, this is where I'll go back to my own map. What was working before. So let me see if this will just work as it is here. And this one, we're going to use instead the little CSV that we came up with before we added our own stuff in. So let's just get rid of all this now. Go to the code that was working. This one has a lon and lat because it's based on Moroccan City's CSV, which is in there. This should work. Yes, this one. There we go. So this one works. And there you can see Oujda population, Tangier. You can zoom in Agadir, Marrakesh. So this is just pulling the information from the cities that we have. And this doesn't have all the city information that we had before. You might remember that we added all sorts of other cities in here. And now we've lost them. But it's just pulling off of the cities that we have. If we wanted to add more information in there, then we would do it from the CSV now, which is cool. So if I go into the Moroccan cities CSV and I want to add other information, so let's go for what we did earlier. Let's find in our map town 8. I mean, literally we can take any cities we want to, but if we said we wanted to use Taza, for example, that was Taza, and we can get our own information from Taza. Maybe say take it from the Great Mosque of Taza and pull that in and bring this into our code. So, not into our code now. We don't need the code. That's what's so beautiful about this, because now we can go Taza and we can put our latitude and then our longitude. come in here and then take away this and put this in our longitude. We got to get rid of this comma or we're going to be in bad shape. And then we don't know what the population is. So we're going to say 5,000. And then if we wanted to put Yasuin, was that the other city we had seen in there? Yasuin. What was it called? It's a city down here. Layun, sorry. So if we took Layun and took its mosque and put that in here, so Layun, and put latitude and longitude. Let's take this part off. Here and get a comma. So we're back to this idea of using spreadsheets, which is the best part of this. Because when we save this now, and we rerun our code, now we have other information we've put in. We've got Fez, Agadir. Oh, it didn't reload actually. So we need to run the app. Pull that new information in. There we go. And you can see there's Layun. That's the population we gave there. And over here, when we zoom in, there's Tazla, which we put in. So it's getting better. We still can't get this stuff to march to underlying that. But what this implies is that if we can do this, I need to copy it, already got that. If we can do this for our little database, then what could we do with our High Atlas Foundation database that we have? So in this case, let's go into the code and let's change it and simply tell it that the thing we want changed is the CSV, which is going to be pulled from, to find it, Morocco, load Moroccan cities, did all that, there it is. Load Moroccan villages. Moroccan villages from CSV rather than that, and we'll change this to HAF.CSV, which is in the same folder, and we'll call this Moroccan villages. And then we'll change this to Moroccan villages SF. It has to convert to an SF object. And I need to see if we have the word cities anywhere else. Cities. Morocco cities. So it's Morocco villages. We're using now. Morocco villages. See if there's anywhere else. Cities. Call this object. Here. Morocco villages. And more occurrences. Okay. Previous occurrences. All right. So this should work now, pulling off. The only thing is we have to make sure that we're pulling off the right things, and we don't have lon lat in our table. We have longitude and latitude. you can see that if we look here, we have latitude and longitude spelled that way. And then we have for the population, we have POP, population. So that's the data that we're going to be working with. And so make sure that we have latitude and longitude, and then population. I need to see if there's any place that says population. So there's population there, it's spelled population. And next, population. We'll see what happens. I may have to change that as well, but let's just check this out and try to run it. Oops. It's supposed to run the app. Save this. Let's run the app. Comes up, and it says LON not found. Why is that? Somehow there's LON. You do, huh? Yeah. X LON, there it is. So we need to make sure this says longitude. Mary did. Longitude from downstairs.
The one who lives under us?
Yes, latitude. Alright, let's try this out instead. Save it. Didn't work. Reload the app. Oh, longitude. I spelled it wrong. Oh boy. Okay, longitude. Let's try this. Longitude. Do it again. Selected. Longitude. Now object city is not found. Where on earth is city? Format. City. It's called village, right? Village. Latitude. Longitude and pop. Somewhere else there has to be a word city. City, paste, city. And this is now village. Village. And then population, it's got to be pop. Right. Let's try this. Always save files, save selected. City not found. Still. Alright. Why are we still looking for city? City markers, city info. That's really weird. Like I can change this to village, and then change this to village. And then save that, and then reload. And there we go. Wow. Oops. There we go. Okay, so finally it all worked. Now as you can see, my data is on the map with the populations from my HAF data. Finally, some of them don't have data with them, but the villages do, as you can see. These all have populations that come from there. And then we click on it, and you can get streets as well. And it's just that it's not really matching up to the base map. So all of that is to say that we do have the ability to use plots and plotly to put our information on It's just not as fun as working with the viewer when you're working with leaflet, but it does work. And so now I'm going to take this all and I'm going to put this in our document. And I'm going to say we can also bring in our HAF.CSV village site spreadsheet using this code. All right. And I'll change this to green text color. Say we just need to make sure the name is correct. I shortened it to HAF.CSV from HAF village sites and put it in the same folder as our studio program. That's kind of cool that you can interact with it like that. Oh no, it doesn't seem to do anything when you do that. But we can zoom in. Yeah. Yeah, so if I wanted to show that in here, I would go to Snipping Tool and go to second lay. And then show that. I get the population information that is in my table.
What?
And
I'm doing the video here so you can watch what is sitting on here. Okay. Will not laugh.
I should default to small because this drives me nuts that I always have to work with this being too big. It's always doing the same darn thing. If I view the zoom and I zoom to 75%, only then can I bring this way over because I don't need to see everything at this point. Now I have my latitude, longitude, and I've got my population. That's what I want to see. And then I should be able to save this. And I should also be able to view it 100%. Yeah, so I can use this now. Take this. And let's show the street view as well. Oh, street view, you'd have to zoom in again. Okay. So let's, there we go. Okay. So that's it for now. We've sort of blundered our way through that and determined that it's better to stick with leaflet for sure. And when I'm more confident, I'll do a better tutorial. This is just me trying to figure it all out. Thanks so much.